Good evening, everyone. It is Curtis Selby, your tired midnight blogger. What blogs in this case at 6:33 p.m. And I've hornswoggled Moira Kitty into joining me on this one. We'll tag team the National Endowment for Democracy.
Where's that music coming from?
Oh, it's from Yardstream.
Oh, okay, because it's a little louder. Like at least for my hearing, I can hear it about as well as I can hear you. And it's kind of.
Oh, so
I don't know who's drowning out other people, and plus, like if we got any organ music going on with that, I thought we were about to have a revival. I wasn't entirely. They're like hallelujah.
Hallelujah! The National Endowment for Democracy shall save us.
And just remember, pretty much anytime something is named a certain thing, you can just assume it's the opposite. Like the Patriot Act. It's not fucking patriotic.
The Ministry of Truth, the Ministry of Plenty, the Ministry of Peace, it all seems to pan out. So how have you been? What have you been up to?
I guess I've been trying to plan a trip to Connecticut to see my long-lost kitten.
Aw.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in 17 years.
17 years, that's a long time to be away.
Yeah, that is. And apparently Airbnb is going to be the best choice, but still kind of trying to I was trying to have like a little fundraiser thing where I was dropping the link in the thing, but I only had one stream doing it, and everybody's like, and so I'm like, okay.
Cool beans. Well, let me say hello to the chat, the people in the chat, and then we'll dive into the topic. Matt Shewood says democracy. Did you mean rule of the mob? Howdy at JPRPH1. You're so supportive. Thank you very much. Putin's cat is asking if I'm recruiting, and I thought I was
Putin's
clever.
cat.
After looking at their grant page, I may just, because they evidently are.
Oh, they will not. They will not give grants to individuals or anyone here.
I know.
I already looked because I was like, this bitch is broke. Send me some dollars.
Yeah. We need to.
All they could do is say no, and they did. I was like,
we need to make some organization and see if we can scheme up something that would.
Yeah, because they have grants for social media personalities to make content, and I'm like, I bet you do. I bet you do.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But they're not going to like the content I make.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, burn the whole CIA building down. Get them! And they're going to be like, oh my God, this bitch.
Oh no, the CIA is your friend. Trust the CIA. Yeah.
I'd rather trust candy in a stranger's van.
Don't they hire the same people?
No, they're probably a little too rogue.
Oh, yeah, I got you. And hail Connie Cleary, the loyal bird woman of YouTube. I think I have said hi to everyone. So I kind of stole this idea from you. I hope you'll forgive me for that. But
I didn't realize. I just figured that since we have similar interests, you probably just saw the same video. Because when I saw that you were gonna talk about the NED. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. I just saw a video about that too. And I was like, I was wondering if I was going to do a video about that. But then I was like, because, I always have to bounce from topic to topic. So having a video that's just dedicated to just one topic, I'd be like, oh, I don't know. So when I saw you were going to do it, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Well, hopefully, I can do it justice. But I know with your help, we'll make it a entertaining.
Oh man, don't hype everybody up. We're going to disappoint them. Don't do that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Moira, she doesn't know what she's doing. I'm just teasing.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Just totally
I haven't read up on it as much as I was wanting to because I've been busy looking at studying other stuff, so I hadn't gotten to it yet.
I studied it. I really should have studied it more, considering I'm going to do a stream, but...
well, let's think about it this way. Everybody's going to get to study it together.
Yes, that's what I thought. We
can all be equally surprised together.
We can learn in real time.
Exactly, Matt. Exactly.
Lowered expectations.
Exactly. And if it goes well, then everybody can be pleasantly surprised. Hooray!
Yeah, exactly. Huzzah!
And if they're not, then it's like that. They'll be like, we've seen worse. It's all right.
So I think this was on your channel. You'd reposted it or something, but somehow from you I'd gotten this TikTok
I
and
probably hit the that repost or reshare thing where other, that's probably what I did.
and salute and happy birthday, Stephen from Deleted Scenes.
Lots of hugs, deleted scenes. Let me
Yes,
go find my
yes.
lighter real quick.
Okay. Today is his birthday. Wish him a happy. I won't say what his age is, but he is younger than me. Blast him. Um, and right after work, I grabbed some grub and then watched the ending of his stream with Outlaw Bill, the Last Samurai, and that was awesome. Yes, prepping for his stream. Yes, thank you very much. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Deleted Scenes for showing up in my chat. Thank you so much.
Birthday hugs.
Birthday handshakes. I'm too manly to
Homophobic?
hug another man.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
I'm kind of teasing, but I'm kind of not at the same time. Um,
I've been told it's not gay if you keep your socks on or something like that.
it's yeah. Well, I mean, it's not gay, and it's just so it's like it's different now that I'm old and I've been in bad jobs for way too long. Hopefully, no one from my job hears me say anything like that. But anyway, um, when I was very, very young, if you heard me cuss, you absolutely knew I was upset. Uh, that has changed, but the policy about men has not. If I hug a man, you know that man is someone I would take a bullet for. Otherwise, yeah,
Well,
you
it could
get
be a
the
shorter
handshake.
hug.
Well, I mean, they're not like
Like, it could be a
they're
shorter
not
hug.
deep. There's no
Like, I
porn
wouldn't take a
music.
bullet for you, but like if the guy is shooting at you, I'll try to trip him.
Well,
So,
yeah. Well,
like a
that
shorter
works.
hug.
But I don't think we've gotten to that point between us. But like I'd probably take a bullet for Matt Cheatwood. I know him well enough. I'd take a bullet for several other people who've been in here. It's not so much of a fear of being seen as gay as it is a fear of intimacy and showing emotions. Yeah. I think our generation was still kind of taught that if you show much emotion, you're not really manly. And
Well, I think that's fucking terrible.
I know.
That makes it a lot harder for people to kind of try to recover from PTSD and shell shock and the whole whatnot.
It does.
If they're not able to talk about or express themselves.
And I've got PTSD, but I have learned this the hard way. It's better to just go to a therapist. You try talking with even your closest friends about it, and it's often a mistake.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I sadly agree because, like, I've been stuck somewhere between not wanting to tell, like, anybody I know because, like, I have to see them again. Like, and what if y'all have a falling out? That motherfucker might rat you out.
Yeah.
If the therapist tells on you, at least you can have them fucking fired for breaking confidentiality, at least. At least some kind of, recourse. But also at the same time, there's some things you don't want to tell a therapist because you want to be honest, but you don't want to be so honest you end up locked up on a 72-hour hold.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like your friend probably, if you say, man, I feel like off of myself, your friend's probably not going to rat you out as long as you just say, hey, sometimes I feel this way. The therapist, on the other hand, might start making some scribbles in her notes, and you're like, oh, fuck.
I've had bad therapists too, but I had a really good therapist for after I left my ex-wife. And I would talk, share stuff, but who knows if that would be worth the time or not. She was really good.
Well, that's good.
So, all right, let's see. I don't know if YouTube is as bad about TikTok as it is about YouTube.
As long as there's no copywritten music, YouTube shouldn't freak out.
Okay.
Or if it's from a TV show or something. So her just talking about shit being silly, like as long as she doesn't have any background music going on that they picked up on, because I don't remember if she does or not. Also, I was paying attention to so much to what she was saying that I didn't even notice if there was music or not.
Yeah, and let me give a caveat out here. I realize that this is a random person on TikTok, so
but
we're not going to.
Sometimes information comes from really interesting places, and it doesn't stop us from looking it up ourselves.
Exactly, and that has kind of been my intent was to see how much of this I can verify, and reading between the lines, how accurate is she, how inaccurate is she. If nothing else, we can look at a very interesting redhead, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so let's play at least a minute or two.
Make sure it's not muted or anything. Oh, okay, it's not.
Oh yeah, that's good. Well thought of.
There we go.
Looks good. Looks good. Okay, and let's play. Maybe, hopefully.
CIA, right? It's called the National Endowment for Democracy.
Are y'all able to hear that?
I hear it fine. Let's see if the chat hears it.
Okay.
I hope they do, because I don't know what else to do to fix it.
Right.
So let's see if they say that they can hear her.
Chat people, I just need to know if she's coming through loud and clear. I guess I'll play it for a bit.
That poor girl, her face. He froze it in such a terrible spot. That poor face.
Yeah, I did.
Poor girl.
I am not going to get YouTube Director of the Year, I fear.
I always hate that. I always try not to do that, because even like by myself and I freeze a show, the person's mid talking, I'm like, oh, I can't even do that.
Yeah, I didn't.
No one looks good mid talking.
All right. Let's see what she says. Maybe.
Democracy. You guys have heard of it? If not, let me explain. I just did a podcast episode on it, so all the info is fresh in my brain. So basically in the 70s and early 80s, the CIA started getting a lot of bad press. They'd been up to some shenanigans. They'd been up to some no good. The CIA's stated goal, of course, is to fight the spread of communism and socialism in other countries around the globe, which in itself is pretty wild. Like, that is the United States admitting that we are going into other countries and messing with their sovereignty, their democracy, and we are trying to fuck with their elections and their political leadership. Absolutely bonkers that even exists, and they got really good at it. Like, the CIA was staging coups all over the place. By the 80s, the CIA had created their own airline.
And pausing it partly out of fear of being struck, but also I wanted to comment. I know for a fact, and I think this is something that can be verified. If I'm wrong, my apologies, but I know we interfered pretty severely in the 1947 Italian election.
We've been fucking with everybody since World War II. Like, we've just nonstop been fucking with people.
And the thing is, their justification for 1947, I hate to admit it, but I'm almost, if I lived at that time, I think I might actually been good with it, even though now I'm really not.
Right.
But their premise was, if the communists win this election, they'll never have another free election again. So we tinkered with it. I don't know exactly the details, but we basically made sure that our guy won.
And it's like, we'll never have a free election again. It's not really a free election if it's being meddled with.
No, yeah. I mean,
but yeah, they just don't want an election they don't approve of. That's really what it is. And I'd like to think if we were in 1947, we would have the same way our brain works now in that time, I would hope. So we would know, like, this seems like some bullshit to me.
Like, I know myself well enough to know I probably would have fallen for it back then.
I hope I wouldn't.
I think you wouldn't, but I think I probably would have if I lived back then, because I would be so scared of another world war, especially if I'd fought in it.
Oh yeah, that would probably play a part in it. That's true.
At least I paused her on a slightly better.
A little bit, poor thing. All the same.
I guess.
I think it's just because she's got
airline
a very
system.
Odd,
sorry, what's that?
I think it's because she's got a very odd mouth to face ratio. So like, no matter where we stop it, it's going to look a little odd.
Yeah,
like, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just saying, the structure is interesting.
And yeah, I'm not commenting on her looks in any way, really, because
I'm not meaning it in a bad way. Like,
I know you're not. But I know it's just too easy to misconstrue what a guy is saying about a woman. So I'm just going to say nothing at all. And hopefully it will play. I noticed evidently TikTok is not intensely responsible.
Banking systems, media organizations. Some CIA created media organizations have been around for so long that they're just like staples now. Radio Free Asia, Radio Free Europe, Voice of America. Yeah, all American propaganda wings. So, by the late 70s and early 80s, some journalists were starting to put together events that had happened and were like, wait a minute, did the CIA stage a coup in Iran? Is the CIA funding right wing paramilitary groups in South America to try to overthrow socialist leadership? And all of these stories started to break where people were like, what exactly is the CIA doing? And how many people, innocent people, are being killed in other countries as a result of their efforts to overthrow the governments there? Well, the CIA started to have a really bad reputation. And by 1983, the race.
You know, it's funny. You assassinate a president and you lose your reputation. I don't know what's up with that.
The administration was like, something needs to be done. Now, it's not like they wanted to stop doing all of the secret shenanigans they've been doing, right? Our government wanted to still do all of the coups and make all the propaganda, but we needed a different way to do it because the CIA was coming under attack. 1 second, eyeliner break. So, what they landed on was this. What if we just didn't try to hide it anymore? If we weren't being covert about it, there would be no big news story when journalists dug to the bottom of this and figured out what we were doing. Let's just do it publicly, right out in the open, so there's no story. So to do this, they created their own nonprofit. They created an NGO, a non-governmental organization. But that term, NGO, non-governmental organization, a pretty big misnomer because in reality, this new group they started called the National Endowment for Democracy was funded almost entirely by U.S. Congress and staffed almost entirely by former politicians or people who'd worked in like the State Department. We're talking people.
Does any of that sound familiar in any way? I mean, it so sounds like what's going on now, but
Right.
anyhow.
People who'd been at the CIA, people who'd been advisors for the president. And now they were able to use government money, taxpayer money, to do whatever they wanted without congressional oversight because they were suddenly a non-governmental organization. So what they started doing is funding to the tune of millions of.
It reminds me of the Fed, too. I mean, technically, they're not a government organization.
I hadn't thought about that.
Dollars per year coup efforts in other countries around the planet. This might involve things like running or supporting propaganda wings, finding super right-wing personalities there who had some sort of like media panache and funding them. I like to imagine whatever your country's equivalent of Andrew Tate is. If you had leadership elected there that was a little too left-leaning, imagine the National Endowment for Democracy, our second CIA, coming into your country and giving the equivalent of your Andrew Tate just a bunch of money to spread right-wing ideas. Yeah, we're talking stuff like that. They even funded musicians with right-wing agendas. In Venezuela, they went so far as to have a battle of the bands for these types of musicians who were all writing songs with right-wing pro-American talk.
You all right?
I said, that sounds very 80s. They had a battle of the bands. I'm like, like who can be the best, like, you know, agent and like propagandist with a guitar? Like that sounds like a really weird 80s movie. I feel like there should be like a 80s set skit that somebody should do of like, you know, guys in the like CIA and then like trying to see who have a battle of the bands.
I know JPRPH1 does some music. Maybe we should come up with some 80s stuff, like singing the praises of Ronald Reagan, who I actually still like, but, you know, there it is. Yeah, he made mistakes too, and it sounds like allowing this was one.
Oh yeah.
So, where did my pause button go? Here it is.
With right-wing pro-American talking points. In Cuba, they went so far as to create their own version of Twitter that would just subtly give people anti-Cuban government propaganda and would attempt to direct them via algorithms to smart mobs of protests, basically, that the United States government had funded and helped set up. They got so brazen about this that one person working at the National Endowment for Democracy proudly took public credit for a coup she helped orchestrate. She literally was telling anybody who listened, like, did you see that? Did you see that? That didn't happen spontaneously.
See, I've been trying to find that, and I haven't been able to find it.
I mean, maybe we should be bold enough to Google the woman who bragged about staging a coup and just see if we get a result. Honestly, like sometimes you just got to ask the direct questions and be like, screw it.
True.
Like,
True.
See what we get. If we don't get anything, we don't get anything.
Yeah, I'm assuming we won't because I've noticed in my efforts, and granted, I haven't just used Google, but Yeah, it's slim pickings if you're looking for anything juicy on these people.
Seriously, I worked on that for years. That coup was my baby. I overthrew that democracy. Yes, I did. Now, the wildest thing about this is they are so open about their behavior, right? That they were right. It ceased to become news. On their own website, you can even search the places they've been up to this type of activity. Their goal is basically to create or fund small or even fake grassroots movements, sometimes referred to as astroturf, right? Because it's fake grassroots, and blow them up into full regime changing operations. And it is now just the way America does business. We don't even bat an eye. The funniest part is that the group is called the National Endowment for Democracy, right? And it's like one of those American buzzword things like freedom, eagle, burger, democracy, just like so American. But what they're actually doing a lot of times is overthrowing democratically elected leaders. They are going into other countries with the stated goal of spreading democracy and actively undoing democracy there. Whenever another country elects a leader that's maybe a little too left wing or doesn't want to play ball with the US global interests. A lot of the stuff that today, if you see it,
Yeah, honestly, I believe that they really don't care what wing it is. We just want you to play ball.
seems suspicious and you're like, I wonder if the CIA is up to it. It's actually probably this group, the National Endowment for Democracy. And they probably, are up to it. And they've probably even taken credit for it on their own website. Although lately, they have been caught quietly scrubbing certain records from their website. So we might be seeing a return to making things a little more covert again in the future. You guys know we have a second.
Well, there's the video. So,
Meow.
it piqued my interest, and sadly, I got the video this morning, so I have only done a little bit of research. Do we want to Google the lady who...
I have it shared.
You have it? Oh! Where's... Oh, I see it. All right. Let's add that to
Well,
it.
I didn't find like a 100% result on it. Like it says, woman who bragged about staging a coup. There's a few different things, a list of coups, this and that. But this one, I thought this one kind of jumps out at me, so I don't know.
Okay.
It says Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland engineered Ukraine's regime change without weighing the likely consequences. So I don't know if this is specifically what she was referring to, but it's what we got for a result of a woman doing a coup, basically. I was looking at some others. There's some things for Belarus. There are some saying that Trump did his own coup.
I wish she had given some more detail.
I wish she had too, but just for the halibut, though.
Did she say what her position was in the organization?
She did not, sadly. This thing. My mouse is like a piece of shit. Anyway. Truths?
Yes, I believe so.
As the Ukrainian army squares off against the ultra-right neo-Nazi militias in the West, and the violence against the ethnic Russians continues, which is weird because they're not even with all the stuff going on with Ukraine and Russia right now, they seem to have forgotten that there was like ultra violence against the Russians just a little before that. They don't seem to be talking about that much.
Well, that's an inconvenient truth. We can't
do
any of that.
And we're funding these people right now.
Yeah.
So. Like, wow. This is why I believe words don't even matter anymore, almost.
I don't think so. I know that I have friends. This is one of the few things that my friends on both sides of the aisle seem to all agree about, is that, Ukraine is pure as the wind-driven snow. I guess I should be staying close to my mic. I got too comfy back there. But
she might be talking about Victoria Nuland.
Yeah, I wonder.
If not, she's still a candidate for that topic, obviously. So.
Regime change. I'm going to do a quick search myself, but I'm going to use DuckDuckGo. I don't know if they're any better or not, really, but
sometimes even a word changed can make a huge difference in the results.
woman within Ned who bragged about regime change. Let's see if anything pops up. Nothing. Nothing at all.
Well, found it. But yeah, my invisible money that I don't have is like $5 on Victoria Newland.
Yeah.
But apparently, just judging by a little bit of the article I was looking at, apparently she was like, claiming, oh, it's not really a coup, it was a victory for democracy. I'm like, oh my God.
Who will protect Starbucks? That's
What?
definitely good job, Google. That's exactly what we were looking for. Well done.
Fuck
Well,
Starbucks, man. Fucking genocide loving assholes. Fuck them.
Exactly.
I think it's hilarious that they thought they were gonna, butt their nose into politics and say something they shouldn't have fucking said, and then they lost billions. I think that's and McDonald's too. I thought that was fucking terrific.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so glad to see people kind of get together and kind of just sock it to, large stupid companies saying things they shouldn't. Like, if you didn't want to be in it, then don't be in it. But don't. I really feel like companies odd times should just stay out of shit and not throw their 2 cents worth into politics.
Yeah, I mean,
That could be a steep price.
At the risk of losing all of my audience, I'm absolutely okay with companies like, well, yeah, I wish they would just simply do their jobs and not discriminate and keep their mouths shut. But, okay, I'm going to share this page. This is their website. It looks wonderful. It's got the Goddess of Liberty, National Endowment for Democracy. It has a wonderful logo. I'm sure they're good people. I can tell.
In a CIA sort of way.
Yeah.
I am not 100% sure how Zelensky got in, although I'm sure he was put there. I'm quite sure that normally people would not elect such a sleazy little rat that he is.
Well, I know he was a comedian. And
he was like a weird performer, a comedian.
And I don't say that to be, oh, he's not good enough because he was a comedian.
No, but he's an actor and he can fake a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah. I've learned just enough, and I mean just enough to know that I'm not saying that, Russia should have invaded Ukraine. I'm not saying that at all.
Nope.
But Ukraine is not completely, the Ukrainian people are innocent victims, yes. But the Ukrainian government, yeah, there's some shady stuff that's going on. Maybe not necessarily worthy of an invasion, but they're not the heroes that they're painted to be. The people, yes. The government, no. Matt Cheatwood, he played a character in a sitcom. He had the role of a high school teacher who accidentally won the election because people were sick of the corruption. And then he actually won the election in real life. I don't know if I am just in awe of this man or if I'm scared. I'm not really sure which.
I'd be scared because he's an arrogant little sot that is like, got big for his britches now.
Well,
and all that ungodly amount of money he's been pocketing. Like while he was in here begging us for money, his wife was going on these fancy shopping trips in Paris.
Well, that's what I'd be doing if my country were in a fight for its life and I had a bunch of money. That's exactly what I'd do.
You said that with almost too much of a straight tone. Like that, people might not realize you were fucking joking. Even I paused for a second, like, what the
fuck? Sometimes I don't deliver the joke quite well enough. Each year, Ned makes more than 2,000 grants, but none to Moira, to support the projects of non-governmental groups abroad. And I think that's the key. I think I think we would have to convolute some reason why we're actually abroad. Working for democratic goals in more than 100 countries. I know they have democracy awards. While I was looking, I had seen some pictures of the Dalai Lama and George H.W. Bush, and which, I have all respect for the Dalai Lama, although I guess something happened to him here about a year or two ago that makes me feel sad, but I may go into that later. The 2024 Democracy Awards will honor the remarkable achievements of NED partners and leaders who have dedicated their lives to the advancement of democracy. Hey, they have job openings. I'm now just going to say nothing but positive things and apply for a job with them. What do you think?
Yeah. They're going to have some kind of little contract for you not to go tell their dirty secrets on your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to take the fun out of it. You're going to have to accidentally leave files where I could get it and I can copy them and then put them back and tiptoe away so nobody will know you did it.
Right. Okay, so here
I didn't sign shit.
We have Reagan, who
funded the whole Iran-Contra thing.
Yeah.
Did what he could to ignore the AIDS problem, and then made added to the stigma, making it harder for people to. Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but one of the things that helped bankrupt my family was they closed a crud ton of banks.
Oh, dang.
Back in the early 80s. And so if you're a small farmer and you were used to going to your bank and you'd known each other for 20, 30, 40 years, you could get a loan. Well, Washington, D.C. didn't care if you went bankrupt. Didn't care if you did business. So they only gave loans out to the big farmers. So nobody remembers that.
That sounds about right. That tracks.
And I've tried to find stuff on the internet about it, and there's nothing about it whatsoever. It's like it never happened.
See, exactly. People here in America, people are always like, it doesn't matter what you say, even if you're saying something and it's just like you mentioned the word democracy, and it's just like you're quoting a phrase. Like, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. And I'm like, God damn, say it, don't spray it. They fucking lose it. They froth in the mouth. But when you talk about a certain blue and white country in the Middle East, they're like, it's the only democracy. It's so great. And it's like, whoa, I thought democracy wasn't a good thing. Now you're sitting there whacking off about it. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well,
because it sounds like it's just bragging rights. When you mention it here, they lose their shit. And it's like,
Well, we only want our
because we're barely that. We're barely at this point. We're lucky to be a democracy at this point because let's be honest. They're saying, what is it? The ballot box, ammo box. It wasn't like a third box of some sort. I don't remember what it was. But all of them have fucking failed, and they're taxing the shit out of the ammo box.
Yeah, the ballot
because it's really hard to make everything
that
every pew, every Second Amendment thing, mousecatool, whatever you want to call it. TikTok has got a lot of loopholes where you can try to say things like that. And they're like, well, it's really hard to make all of them illegal, but let's tax the fuck out of the ammo. Because they know that one of these days, somebody's going to need it.
Yeah.
And they're bastards for it.
Matt Cheatwood says it's interesting the U.S., a constitutional republic, sets up parliamentary democracies when it interferes in other countries. And we
because if it was... Yes.
We are
Amen, brother.
An oligarchy. That's 100% right. I believe that. Is there anything on this page that looks like something that's worth going down the rabbit hole?
Well, what? Hey, let's look at those things that are scroll down a little. Not that, although I am worried about the Kosovo thing. But okay, I thought these were faded out because when I looked this website up, a lot of these were grayed out and I couldn't click on them. Now they look like they can be clicked on. That's fucking weird.
Well,
I don't know why I'm moving my mouse over that screen. I can't click on it. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm fucking stupid. God. I'm pointing like you can see it somehow. Like, God dang it.
Because you're used to running the stream,
Right,
or
right.
being with. Oh crap! I'm having a senior moment. But anyway.
Oh my God, my mom and dad used to say they were having senior moments. That's so fucking funny.
Right. So Kosovo, and now mine is also doing that weird
Like,
grade.
did they have like a wild ass genocide in Kosovo, like in the 90s?
If memory serves,
Like
yes.
Serbia, like it was like the Serbs and all that shit was going on. Like, wasn't that Kosovo or near it?
I think so. I mean, my
Yugoslavia, whatever
memory
the
is
fuck.
getting more foggy, but
Because I saw Behind Enemy Lines, that was supposed to be Kosovo, wasn't it?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because like I kind of get like the
Well,
collapse of Yugoslavia, right?
Yes.
And so like, so the certain blue and white country in the Middle East comes to find out they were helping arm that genocide. I swear to God, it's like live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like, holy fuck.
I think it's interesting how often we fund both sides of a conflict.
You know who I think inspired that fucking shit?
What's that?
Red Shield.
Oh, Matt saying the collapse of Yugoslavia. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
But
okay.
like the Rothschilds, because like from what I remember, that basically there was a whole thing going on, and like Rothschilds had like control of like media or whatever, like newspapers and shit, and made a fake story saying that England had lost, and so something about their stocks went to shit, and they bought up all those fucking stocks, and then by the time everybody realized they had lied about it, they owned fucking England, and everything went to fucking crap after that.
They do own a crud ton of stuff.
Oh yeah, they do.
You know, I know people think I'm a tin foil hatter, but
there's shit tons of proof that proves that's real.
They, you know, it's not like they have absolute control. I'm not saying that.
How are they not?
But they have a lot of influence. They certainly do.
They can buy and sell just about any politician. You got them and AIPAC, and like Cheatwood said, like we're just a republic on paper.
Yeah.
Certainly not in practice.
So, getting Kosovo back on track in the current age of historical revisionism.
Yeah, in America's revisioning of it.
I suspect, I mean, I accuse other people of doing this. Now I'm going to do it myself. But yeah, I've kind of made up my mind that even if the lady is exaggerated, that likely these people are part of the alphabet soup that's out to get us.
That sounds so confusing. That does.
Yes.
Because people refer to the LGBT community as like the alphabet this or the alphabet that. So it's going to
out of the times, yeah.
What he's referring to anybody who's watching this on the playback, he means the three-letter agencies, the FBI, CIA, ATF, blah, 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 that sort of shit.
Yes.
That is who he's referring to, just in case someone gets confused. I'm not saying anybody right here is, but they know us well enough. They know that's not what we're referring to. But on the playback, if somebody goes, what the fuck's he mean by that? What did we do? Like, not y'all, not y'all.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing that community.
Not at all. No, we're talking about the FBI and CIA and all those assholes.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, as we continue to revise history, when many question whether the West misused the unipolar moment by overinvesting in failed liberal interventionist projects, boy, that's so well written. I wish I had written that. Kosovo stands out as a comparatively successful case of Western-supported state building and democracy promotion, argues Agan Maliki, the co-founder and former chairman of the board of Sabunker, an analytical media platform and think tank based in Pristina. So, to answer one of Putin's cat's earlier questions, I don't know that these people are think tanks, but they evidently sponsor a bunch of think tanks. Institutionally, with considerable international assistance, Kosovo underwent the difficult process of building an entire state apparatus from scratch. With mixed results and often underwhelming capacities, he writes for the Atlantic Council. The brightest spot has been Kosovo's democracy. There's wide pluralism in the media space. Then they're doing better than we are. And free and fair elections have led to smooth transitions of power. Again, doing better than us. Including a landslide win by an anti-establishment party in 2021.
That's probably some controlled opposition right there.
Adds Maliki, former Reagan Faskel Fellow at the National Endowment for Democracy.
There it is.
Nevertheless, their progress remains fragile on many points. On the institutional side, state capacity continues to impede effectiveness and service delivery, meaning they need bigger government, while weaknesses in the rule of law fuel social grievances, meaning there's corruption, and we don't really want to talk about that.
Exactly.
The new political elite that took power on an anti-corruption agenda have managed to reduce public perception of the prevalence of corruption. I love that they worded it that way.
Yeah, they don't want to make it look like there's corruption.
Yeah. And to increase trust in the independence of institutions like the judiciary.
No, it's okay. You can trust me.
Yeah, trust me.
Now eat this apple.
I'll absolutely do right by you. I will take care of you. And here's all
the government. We're here to help.
That was short and, I guess, sweet. And I do agree with Reagan, at least on that point.
I know that is some scary shit.
3-letter organization, says Matt Cheatwood. The only legitimate purpose of government is to protect the individual rights of the citizen. Government
and a lot of that can be done by them simply minding their business and leaving us alone.
Oh, yeah.
And only, like a parent, only stepping in if absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
But they know that's their job. And so they make it look, they create so many chaotic situations. So they go, see, look how much you need us. Look what's happening over here. When they fucking did that. You ever hear those stories? And it doesn't happen very often. But once in a while you hear about a firefighter who sets a fire. And then, they come and put it out and they look like heroes. And it's like that. Our government sets fires everywhere and then tells you how much you need them, and you must give them money to put out the fire they just fucking did.
Kind of like Netanyahu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was so glad to find that headline. I'm like, I fucking told you. Fucking told you. I've been telling y'all for months. I fucking told you.
I'm surprised that they let that article get out.
I'm surprised too. I really am. I hope that reporter doesn't end up dead.
Well, yeah.
Or fired. Oh, this person was magically found having done anti-Semitic things, and they're fired. And I'm like,
right.
Sure.
Well, was there anything else that we wanted to look at with that site?
I don't know.
Because basically, even though I'm kind of being unfair here, I do at least want to give everyone a chance to, even the villain is the hero in their own story.
Well, yeah, most people see that is the funny thing, is because almost nobody actually wakes up and goes, you know what? I want to be the bad person. I want to do things that are mean and unfair. That's usually not how it goes. I mean, some people are that way, but I think a lot of them think, no, it's mean, but it's for their own good. That's usually what that is.
Yep. Spirit of China's white paper protests.
The fuck?
Let's look at that if you let me.
Yeah, let's check that out.
'Cause
China's upset with us, and I'd like to see one of the reasons why.
Well, China, some of the very few sites I could find criticizing the endowment are from Chinese-sponsored media.
I would like to see what they have to say about it.
Well,
I would. I mean, I'm not saying 100% believe them, but it would be nice to, like, the person they're always like, oh, they're the bad guys. I'm like, I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Right.
Obviously, misinformation is not something the government minds, so that by itself is not the problem.
Yeah. Democracy Digest. So this is one of their papers. China's ruling Communist Party appears to have postponed a key political meeting in a move analysts said suggests that party leader Xi Jinping faces strong currents of dissent from within party ranks that he may not be able to keep under wraps at a plenary session. Let's skip down if you don't mind. A year has passed since China's white paper demonstrations. Oh, I had forgot about that.
It sounded vaguely familiar, but I have not a clue what it's about.
I remember passing references to it.
That might be why I recognize the sound of it.
But since they were only passing and like life
silence and stifled
the crap out of me, yeah. This says that it was the largest demonstration since the 1989 Tiananmen Square democracy movement.
Damn.
Stringent censorship and surveillance, however, which I'm sure was one reason why it was passing, have made public commemorations inside the country nearly impossible. Words and names associated with the protests continue to be banned online. Protest sites are cordoned off by police, and those who participated in 2022, so this website is a year old, I guess, still face police harassment. For many people in China, the biggest takeaway from the protests was that far more of their compatriots are deeply dissatisfied with the regime than they previously realized. Freedom House research shows that at least 72 protests were held across 17 provinces during the last week of November 2022 alone. That's crazy. This is a generation that is thought to be politically inert and brainwashed by patriotic education, says Diana Fu, an associate professor of political science at the University of Toronto. Okay. The protest showed that patriotic education has not completely wiped away yearnings for freedom among Gen Z. So, Matt Cheatwood, the most dangerous tyrant is the one who thinks they know what is good for you better than you do. That's correct. And the mustached man whose name I can't say or I'll be censored.
The angry little German man or the angry little Soviet man? Okay.
Well,
they both had mustaches.
Really. Well, both of them really, but
they both had mustaches. One just had a bigger mustache.
I think they honestly both believed they were doing.
Oh, some people call him the failed Austrian painter.
Yeah.
Okay.
This failed Austrian painter. Okay.
Although I've seen some of his artwork, I'm like, it's actually not bad.
It's not bad?
I'm not saying he's a good guy, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, I looked at the artwork, I'm like, fuck, that's actually kind of nice. How did he not get into the artwork? Actually, I did watch a documentary that did discuss some of that possibility, but I can't say it here.
Yeah.
Well, I can hint at it, I guess. It basically implied that there was a lot of blue and white flag people there in the school. And it seemed like the only people who were getting taken into the art school were ones that were doing pornographic stuff and crass and dark stuff and not like degenerate type shit instead of like, stuff you could actually show kids and show in front of families and stuff.
Yeah,
and one of the things that led to him wanting to clean up Germany, I guess, was that, and that was the reason behind the book burning, was because it was a bunch of pornographic, basically how they're trying to clean up the school libraries here, the pornographic stuff, the graphic stuff, the creepy weird shit, like apparently that's what this documentary was saying, that was what those books were. So, and that he might have been rejected from the school because he wasn't participating in that trend of artwork.
The crudeness.
Yes.
Well,
and I'm just saying that's what that said, because I'm always fascinated about hearing another point of view.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I don't want anyone to start coming for us. So I'm like, hold up.
This is one of the reasons why.
Or at least don't come for him, because he didn't say it.
Why I wish that we could talk about some of these things. it kind of chaps my hide that, we should at least be able to discuss the guy. I'm not saying that we have to follow him. Please God, let's not do that. But you're not allowed to talk about him at all.
Right? Yeah, you're not allowed to, unless you're saying something really bad. But like, if you say anything that might sound even remotely like, wait, let's think about it. Like, don't you think about it? Don't you dare think about it. You either repeat what we say or better shut up. And I don't like that, because the more someone does that, the more I'm like, I don't know. And this is about anybody. If you're telling me I'm not allowed to ask any questions about something or any questions about anyone, I'm not supposed to look into anything, that tells me that you're probably lying to me, and maybe it's not what you're telling me.
Yeah,
that's the guaranteed way to make me wonder about that.
Well, let's face it, all that really
does. Because if the stove is really hot, then
yeah.
Let me find out. Don't tell me that I just need to believe you. Like, nah. The government and the education system and everything has actually done the very opposite of anything that would encourage me to believe them 100% about anything.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm getting more and more to where I'm not going to say that I just start believing the diametric opposite, but I doubt pretty nearly everything.
I automatically assume there is other sides to this story, and I'm like,
yeah, and sadly, it gets harder and harder to find the truth as we're censored more and more.
Right.
So let's look. We've looked at their own stuff, and I've kind of made fun of it, which is unfair, but hopefully more entertaining than not. Basically, we get to hear how they're the hero. They built up Kosovo. They're helping China to find its way to a enlightened democracy. Let's look at the other side of it. So, just so that everyone knows, I'm often willing to look at just about any side of an argument. This is the Black Agenda Report. It's news commentary and analysis from the Black Left. So, I don't think that the Black Left likes this organization, and I guess we'll have to find out why. The picture quotes this guy, Alan Weinstein. Yeah, there's another Weinstein. Run for the hills, Putin's cat. But a lot of what we do today was done covertly 25 years ago by the CIA, the National Endowment for Democracy. Soft power arm of the CIA, its operations in Haiti have played a large role in undermining sovereignty. Haiti is awash, according to these folks, in money from the NED. The NED had a direct role in funding opposition forces and paramilitary forces leading up to the 2004 coup against democratically elected President Jean-Bertrand Aristide. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but oh well. It is crucial, therefore, to explore how the NED is currently influencing Haiti by funding Haitian-led organizations inside the country. The NED is overt regarding the grants it provides and funding it delivers on. You can simply visit their website and search, which we just did a little bit of. The organization is rarely analyzed, however, and their grantees are seldom scrutinized. This is actually maybe going to give us more information than I had expected. The NED was founded in 1983. The NED's co-founder, Alan Weinstein, was described by the Washington Post as the sugar daddy of overt operations.
What the fuck? What did we get on to now?
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole too far, but I've got to look at that.
I was messaging my daughter, and I look up, and you're talking about sugar daddies. I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
Where did we go?
We left the CIA and went to sugar daddies. What the shit? In this economy?
Never know. Oh,
of course. Splendid daddy, maybe. But
they want that. The Washington Post is wanting me to subscribe. Sorry, I guess. I hate to do it, but I guess I'll take their word for it that that quote's legit. Someday I need to get my Patreon page set up, and hopefully people will pay for my subscriptions to all these magazines that I want to quote. Which one was this? Undermining Democracy. Okay, back to that. According to its website, the NED is dedicated to fostering the growth of a wide range of democratic institutions abroad, including political parties, business organizations, human rights organizations, and independent media. I mean, we're going to trash independent media as much as we can,
Yep.
but we'll fund them if they're saying what we want said. Both the left and the right have a serious problem with NED. Yeah, honestly, I would hope so.
It's weird because if the left and the right have a problem with NED, why are they not doing something about it? Because they're funding it.
Yeah.
It's congressionally funded. So they claim they're having a problem with it, but I don't see them doing anything to stop it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not a bad point, Matt. Weird how the people keep using the phrase democratically elected as if those elections can't be tampered with. Both
Absolutely.
Trump and
I think they know that though. Because you ever like those movies where like somebody commits a crime and they try to leave little hints to let you know they did it? Like that. I think this is the way they're doing it. They say democratically elected because they want you to kind of catch them almost because they think it's fucking fun.
Well, I think
it's a sick game with these people.
I think some of them, at any rate, they do feel that. I wonder how I would feel if I was in that clandestine place. Would I be numb to it? Would I be gloating over it? Oh, probably not too much, because otherwise you do get caught and then you're done.
Well, I mean, but as long as you got the right dirt on the right people, nothing will happen, and I think they know that.
Yeah, fair point.
Like they're playing tag, and they're like, nah, 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 like daring you to tag them, because what's the worst going to happen anyway to them?
Weinstein was more honest in describing the purpose of the NED while speaking to the Washington Post reporter. A lot of what we do today was done covertly 25 years ago by the CIA, he explained. In Rogue State, author William Blum points out that while the NED was supposedly set up to support democratic institutions throughout the world through private, non-governmental efforts, the U.S. Congress provides nearly all its funding. Yeah, it's non-governmental, but supported by tax dollars. I love that. I don't know if you heard it, but I'd done a post here a while back. It was mainly about General Flynn, but part of the analysis that I did of him was talking about the Russian idea that NGOs are a big method of how warfare is going to pan out in the future. Instead of shooting each other, we're just going to use memes to take each other down. Blum argues that while the NED claims to promote democracy, it actually promotes U.S. foreign policy, often at the expense of democracy. The NED finances, nurtures, and supplies right-wing political groups, which I'm a little bit right-wing myself, but still, this sounds like horse hockey.
Yep.
Civic organizations, labor unions, student groups, book publishers. Hey! You think if I pretend to be a foreigner, I could get my book published?
People are able to find too much information now. I don't think that'll work.
I'm not. If I was good enough to be a spook, I'd be a spook. These NED-funded organizations seek to destabilize left-wing governments whose policies oppose U.S. interests or prevent left-wing movements from successfully achieving power in the first place. I think it's interesting that our left-wing media, which it just baffles me that I'm reading this, and our media is so left-wing, but yet we want to tear down the left wings of other countries. It hurts my head. The the goals and methods of organizations and individuals the Ned funds do not oppose that of U.S. foreign policy. The U.S. government does not provide funding to individuals or organizations who oppose U.S. interests, which, fair enough. I know we fund both sides of several armed conflicts, but evidently that's in our interests, so... The Ned funded civil society groups to undermine President Jean-Bertrand Aristide in the years leading up to the 2004 coup d'etat that removed him and thousands of others from elected office. Aristide won an overwhelming majority of 92% of the vote in the 2000 presidential elections. His party, Lavalas, also won 80% of the seats in the House Assembly. It was then that the Ned began funding opposition groups inside Haiti. In Damming the Flood, author Peter Hallward describes how the Ned, through its subsidiary, the International Republican Institute, helped fund a destabilization campaign against Aristide. This destabilization campaign included funding civil society groups. One such group was Democratic Convergence. Founded months after Aristide's election, the Ned funded this coalition of 200 political organizations who wanted his government overthrown. Led by former Port-au-Prince Mayor Evans Paul, CD included industrialists, bankers, importers, media, and intellectuals. Many members of CD went on to become part of another U.S.-funded organization, the Group of 184. And currently they are funding the Réseau National de Défense des Droits Humains. My French is not the best. I'm just faking it. Pierre Esperance. I know nothing about any of these people. But at any rate, we funded a big move to overthrow that government, and lo and behold, it got overthrown. Huzzah! Matt Cheatwood. Haiti is and always has been a dumpster fire. Are the gangs still in control of Haiti these days? I don't know, but Moira, do we want to look at Alan Weinstein's Wikipedia page, or do we want to do some digging on Hillary and see if she was probing around in Haiti?
Well, we know she was probing around in Haiti because they built like one fucking house when they were supposed to build a bunch of it, and then all that money disappeared, and then like 3 months later or some fucking shit, I don't remember what it was, her daughter had a multi-million-dollar wedding. So, we know where that money went.
Was that around 2004? Do you remember?
Oh, no. Oh, 2004. Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember when she got married. I mean, it'd be easy to look it up.
Yeah, hopefully. When did Clinton... Chelsea Clinton get married? Hey, Glamour Magazine has 14 facts we need to know about that wedding.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I'm just going to look it up to see the date. August 2 of 2010. So it was a little bit after that.
All
A
right.
little bit after that.
I couldn't remember how close it was, but it was close enough that people were wondering if that was the money.
Yeah, well, I
know illegal. I know illegally gotten gains was probably used for that wedding. Either way, a lot of blood money that bitch's got.
Yep, I believe you're not wrong. Let's take a look at Alan Weinstein. I've only got maybe 2 more tabs after that. And
he says Haiti was always a dumpster fire. I don't think it always was, because when they got colonized, they got enslaved, and then I think they had some kind of uprising, and
Yeah,
so I don't really know what it was like before they got, someone decided they were going to give them a dose of democracy.
I
I mean,
know
they might have been a dumpster fire, but to be honest, it wasn't our business.
it was.
Okay?
Yeah,
I mean, not to be mean. I mean, obviously, if something gets really bad, obviously a little genocide. But Matt Cheatwood brought up such a good point about how they always use democratically elected shit, because so many people seem to think, oh, but we're doing such a favor taking democracy to countries. And I'm like, okay, so if we're such great people, if our country's so great, why are we not giving them a republic?
yeah, exactly.
Like, why are we not doing that? Next time somebody like at me, I'm going to be like, okay, so how come we're not helping them install a republic? And then I want to see them start to like get that Windows shutting down sound. Like, I want to see it just start to. Yeah, I want to see them start to shut down.
You know,
I think some gangs are in control of Haiti. I'm not sure they're as bad as we're being told, because think about it this way: they do not want us to be inspired to do an uprising of our own. So if it's going kind of okay, I mean, I'm sure there's violence and gunfire, because no one wants to be overthrown by a gang of anybody. So I'm sure there is gunfire to be had, but like, they were claiming there was cannibalizing shit going on for a bit, and then that story died real quick. So
yeah.
I think they were just trying to scare people, because if we see like people taking up arms against the government and overthrowing it, and we hear them being called terrorists, we hear them being called gangs, it makes us not want to do that, because we don't want to be associated with that and have that label. And that works on us, because we don't want to be seen as that. Like, oh, I don't want to be seen as a homegrown terrorist. Never mind. I don't want people to think that of me. Even though, honestly, our government is a homegrown terrorist.
Well, they fund some anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So I do know that before, I can't remember exactly when it happened, but they were under the tyranny of Papa and Baby Doc Duval.
Oh, yeah. I was told, my dad told me they were cannibals, but I don't know if I believe it now. With all the propaganda.
I don't know if they were cannibals, but it's known that they used voodoo practices. And I don't want to even criticize practitioners of voodoo. I know I have heard that in the United States there are people who practice it, and they're fine people and don't run around.
Well, yeah, but they probably wouldn't, if they're fine people and they don't use it for bad, then they probably wouldn't approve of somebody using it for bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So exactly. I mean, I'm just gonna guess. And besides, honestly, I don't really believe in voodoo personally. I think if people believe it is a good way to control them, because they will be afraid to do anything to you, because they're afraid you'll get them. And so, like, I imagine it's a very strong way to control large groups of people who believe in it.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. It's, because
if I go for somebody and I miss, I'm afraid that I'm going to, like, drown in my own blood in my room, because they just stuck a doll with a needle or some shit,
Right.
Like, that's a scary fucking thought. And it might even bring in a little hypochondria. Someone might think they're having an attack, and they're having a panic attack. And it might cause a heart attack, and they'd be like, oh, the voodoo worked. Like, no, the person was scared to death. I imagine that's oftentimes how that goes down. Because they say the mind is pretty strong when you get scared like that.
It really is. And I don't know the truth of it, but I've heard that voodoo priests have a very decent knowledge of psychotropic drugs and things like that.
Because if voodoo by itself worked, you wouldn't need psychotropic drugs.
Right.
Technically.
Right.
So psychotropic helps brainwash the person and like, I don't know how you'd call it, condition them, basically.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, and hell, the CIA's been doing that to people for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't call it voodoo, they just call it like MK Ultra and shit.
Exactly. Well, I apologize for referencing Wikipedia, but...
Well, it's good to look at different sources just to get a general round look at everything.
Yeah, I tried to look at other sources, but I didn't really see anything that looked like it would give us anything that was useful for this. But
yeah, I get you. I don't think anyone's going to hold it against you.
Alan Weinstein was an American historian, educator, and federal official. He, under the Reagan administrator, he was co-founder of the National Endowment for Democracy in 1983. He served as the archivist of the United States.
The fuck? Oh, so he gets, like, the victors win the write the history books, and he gets to archive it, eh?
Yep, you got it.
Oh,
Until
okay.
his resignation. I wonder why he resigned.
Holy
December
shit!
19, 2008.
Look at what Cheatwood wrote.
What did? Oh, let me get back. I have reason to believe that my father was one of the subjects in the.
Holy fuck!
Oh man!
Like, tell us. I want to hear this. I do. Does he want to link? Do you like? I want to hear this story. I really do.
100%. Well, yeah.
I mean, we've always heard about it. We believe it. So, like, somebody had to be a victim of it. Like, those are real people out there somewhere. So
yeah, exactly.
So I'm curious. Like, did he do something? Did he like have weird acid flashbacks or something? Like, I'm curious. Was he in the military and got like fucked over? Like, I want tea. I want the tea in the details.
Matt has talked to me a little bit about his father, but not enough for even if I was, and I wouldn't fill in the blanks anyway without his permission. But
Right.
But I don't know enough about him to know about this. I do want to look up why he resigned. Professor Weinstein.
Oh wow!
Who
Every
had
day for 6 months.
Parkinson's.
Fuck.
Okay.
He says his mom mentioned it in passing years ago that he was in a college study where he got paid to take acid for every day for 6 months. Every day for 6 months sounds like a lot.
Wow.
I mean, at least he got paid for it. Some people got it done like without even being given money. Although a lot of them were not even told what like the goal was or like what was actually being done to them. So that's still pretty unethical.
Oh, Matt, I'm sorry to hear that. That's rough.
Because I believe that done right, those drugs can probably balance people out and maybe open their minds a little. But you don't want to overdo it. Too much of anything is a bad idea.
Well, 100%. I
mean, you need water, but too much of that's going to get you.
I grew up in a time where I probably will never do any drugs, but
if you do, I would suggest mushrooms. It's a lot less.
Yeah, no, I've heard
it's
that.
a lot less.
I've heard that it's
smoother,
less side effects, and that frankly, if you
I've never heard anybody having mushroom flashbacks.
If you know what you're doing, which I don't, but if you do, you can use it.
You take a small dose, obviously. Mm-hmm. Like you would take probably like half gram, like. You wouldn't take much, and like just be somewhere you're comfortable, listen to some nice chill music, and just think about whatever. Not thinking like scary, obviously, because you don't want to have a bad whatever.
No.
But look, I don't know, just whatever you want to deal with, like pictures and think about people you love, and listen to some nice chill Celtic music going on in the background, because like YouTube's really good for that. They have a lot of like Celtic music for like 8-10 hours straight. So you wouldn't even have to get up and go fuck with the music. You just have nice ambient music going on. Like go outside, have some nice fresh air. If you got a yard where you got some privacy, you can just chill and like stare at the sky and shit. I mean, so I'm told.
Right. Yeah,
I'm told.
All good. But I have heard studies.
Oh my god!
It helps with PTSD.
Holy fuck!
Oh, man,
Jesus!
I'm sorry about that.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm just like he disappeared in 76, and he was found in 94. Like, had he been dead the whole time, or like was he out there having some kind of weird life or something? Or like, I mean, I know that's probably not an appropriate question, but I mean, with the whole MK Ultra thing, I have questions.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like, I wonder if he was like a spy for a while or something. Nobody knew.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I suppose that would be a
possibility. So yeah, I'm curious. I am sad for the man. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to skip to the international elections. In 85, Weinstein founded the Center for Democracy.
Oh, so he was found unconscious in the open. So he had been alive that whole time. Okay. With no ID. Well, I mean, that could happen if you just don't have ID, or sometimes spies don't have ID. So
Right.
it is a bit of a mystery. That's wild. Holy shit.
Man.
And a lot of shit was going on around 93, in the early 90s. So who knows?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He might have toppled the government or something. Holy fuck. I mean, he might have. We don't know.
No, we don't know what he was up to. Absolutely.
Oh, no. That's so sad. At least he was getting taken care of at the end, and medication and stuff to make him hopefully feel better.
I'm sorry about that, Matt.
Because if I'm going to go, I at least want to be in a place I feel comfortable and safe, at least.
You would have been in your 20s, I believe. I wonder, were you in the military, Matt? Or had you served your time? Or however you want to phrase that. They had to run his fingerprints to figure out who he was. Yeah.
It's craziness. Wow. Yeah, he was out by then. Okay.
He was out of the military. Okay. So he founded the Center for Democracy. Lots of organizations popping up with this guy. He served as president until the organization merged with the International Foundation for Electoral Systems.
Oh boy, they're just creating like a bunch of like little shell things.
Yeah.
Is this guy still alive?
No, he died.
No.
According to this, he died.
Oh, there, yeah.
Yeah.
Darn, because that'd be somebody you definitely want to kidnap and tie to a chair and start questioning him. I'm just saying, like, there's some people that it's you got to risk it for the biscuits. You know what I'm saying? Just tie that motherfucker down and be like, all right, I'm going to start with your toes. I'm going to work my way up your shins. You better start talking.
Tell us the secrets. We want to
tell us everything we need to know.
Where are the bodies buried?
Right.
What happened to Kennedy?
Oh, well, we already know that. I do want to know who the trigger man was.
Yeah.
I don't know who the trigger man was, but I know who gave that green light, though.
At the request of Senators Lugar and Pell of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, the Center for Democracy organized a bipartisan group of election lawyers to oversee the preparation for the February 1986 elections in the Philippines. At Ronald Reagan's request, Weinstein returned to the Philippines to continue to monitor the election procedures. The center drafted the official report of the U.S. Observer Delegation, went on to work with President Aquino's government on matters of electoral procedure. He chaired the organization's observation missions to El Salvador, Nicaragua, Panama, and Russia, 91, 96, and 2000. Oh, it's an interesting. After the organizations merged, Weinstein remained on staff as their senior advisor until he was selected as the archivist of the United States. Man, that would be the job to have. For his work in international elections work, Weinstein received the United Nations Peace Medal and the Council of Europe's Silver Medal. He was on the board of directors of the United States Institute of Peace. Sounds too much like the Ministry of Peace for me. Founding officer of the International Institute for Democracy. In 1970, Weinstein began researching the Alger Hiss case, which I've never heard of. Reviewing the case, John Ehrman wrote at the official CIA website that initially Weinstein believed that Hiss had not been a communist or a spy. Weinstein's extensive research included interviews with former Soviet intelligence officers. The request yield and Freedom of Information request that yielded 30,000 pages of FBI and CIA files. After plowing through the data, Weinstein did what no previous Hiss defender had done. He changed his mind. Controversy resulted when Weinstein indicated in a 1976 book review he now believed that Hiss was guilty. I don't know a dang thing about that, but it doesn't prove that he's an insider, but he talked to insiders. That's interesting. Okay, that's really a bunch of vague stuff. I mean, it just sounds like he started a bunch of organizations and then he got Parkinson's and died. And there's a sexual assault thing in here, but it's not really, I don't know if that's relevant or not. In 2018, it came to light that Weinstein's resignation from the National Archives was forced. An investigation by the Office of the Inspector General found credible complaints of sexual harassment, sexual assault, or both from 6 female employees from 2005 to 2007. Weinstein's defense was that the medication he was taking for Parkinson's was at fault. Okay. I'm not going to even comment about that. Oh, yes, and Cassie says rough. Yeah. Thank you, Matt Cheatwood. I'm glad that you like it. Well, do we want to know anything more about Weinstein, or should we move on? What do you suggest, Moira?
I do not know.
My next 2 sites,
Text message.
I have a BBC News article about what really happened with the Clintons in Haiti, and from the president and CEO for the Ned. So,
all right. I mean, I guess we can try to see who all's been in charge of the Ned and like a little bit of their backstory, see how they got in.
all right.
It'd be funny if we see a whole bunch of people that used to be CIA director of the CIA is now in charge of Ned, some shit like that.
Well, here is that beautiful-faced man, Damon.
He looks like he cons elderly people like a televangelist. Look at that man. He's going to sell you every lemon in his lot. Oh, my God.
If you'll just sign over your life savings to me.
He's going to be up there telling you that Jesus wants him to have a new Ferrari and half the congregation is going to pay for it. God
Jesus,
dang.
he knows me and he knows I'm right. Okay. You continue. I will get
that guy is giving Joel Osteen. He really is.
Yeah.
Jesus, I bet he's a bastard. God almighty.
All right.
Oh,
2021.
he looks way too happy.
And he's happy because 2021 saw democracy under siege. The world witnessed coups in Mali, Burma, Guinea, and Sudan. A power grab in
yeah, all those places are so much better now.
Yeah, 100%. The rollback
table. Fuck.
Freedom in Hong Kong, genocide in East Turkestan, sham elections, and increased repressions in Nicaragua, Russia, Venezuela, dashed democratic aspirations in Belarus, Ethiopia, Algeria, and Cuba.
And none of those places right now are any better. They are not. In fact, I think they're actually worse. That guy threw gasoline on the fucking fire if he didn't already strike the match. God almighty.
The rise of populists in El Salvador, Turkey, and Hungary, and the militarized intimidation of Ukraine and Taiwan. Meanwhile, China and Russia are increasingly working to rewrite international rules and reshape international norms, leading the way for other authoritarians to follow. The fall of the government in Kabul at the hands of the Taliban was a coda to a difficult year, as articulated by Ned board member Anne Applebaum in her cover story for The Atlantic, where she argued that the bad guys are winning. I would actually agree with that last statement anyway. Despite these challenges, the demand for democracy remains resilient and robust. Elections and mass protests across the world prove the courage and unrelenting appetite of everyday citizens for accountability, rights, representation. The power of civil society and independent media made headlines as enterprising journalists reported on the Pandora Papers, the Pegasus Project, while the Nobel Peace Prize recognized the hard-hitting reports of investigative journalists. Support for Uyghur Muslims materialized in the U.S. Congress, and an independent tribunal ruled that the Chinese Communist Party committed genocide against the Uyghur population. I have not heard a thing about this. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. We also watched the emergence of activated democratic diasporas as democratic activists forced into exile by repressive regimes have set up shop to continue their work for a democratic future. In July, this Joel Osteen wannabe was honored to succeed Ned's founding president, Carl Gershman, as Ned's second president. Three weeks after he joined the organization, Kabul fell to the Taliban, triggering Ned's institution-wide emergency response to help our partners, human rights defenders, journalists, educators, political leaders, and other courageous civil society activists. We ended the year proud of our efforts to assist in the evacuation and resettlement of 926 Afghan partners, Core Institute staff, and their families, while doubling down on our support for civil society, women's rights, and media inside Afghanistan. So, I mean, he makes himself sound good. I'll give him that. In September, we launched the Carl Gershman Fund for Democrats at Risk to enable civic leaders, media professionals, and other activists under severe threat to safely continue their work defending democracy. I assume that's in foreign countries, but it's an interesting title. The challenges facing the media are immense, said Maria Ressa, founder and editor of Rappler, a Ned grantee, in her 2021 Nobel lecture. We need to help independent journalism survive. Too bad, evidently, America hasn't heard that. First, by giving greater protection to journalists and standing up against states which target journalists. Then we need to address the collapse of the advertising model for journalism. To address these challenges, Ned bolstered its role as one of the largest international funders of independent media and freedom of information. So what we need to do, Moira, is start some kind of newsletter to some foreign country. What do you think? Matt Cheatwood saying this is all from before Russia invaded Ukraine. Yes, I believe so. Because yeah, this report, this is their 2021 annual report. Hello, Darth Plato. We are whining about how Alphabet company, FBI, CIA kinds of people run the world. Matt Cheatwood's All for Equal Rights for Women. Sign them up for the draft. I don't know if I've lost Moira. She's still here in the back stream, but she may be having to do something. Do I sound like I'm in a hallway? Interesting. Yeah, you're right, Matt. We're not going to learn anything interesting from reading their own propaganda.
Well, sometimes we look for inconsistencies. Like in one article, they'll say one thing and then contradict themselves in another. Little things like that sometimes we can hope to look for. Because when people lie enough, eventually they slip up.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
100%.
hard to keep the lies straight, you know?
Well,
So that's part of what one looks for.
I've only got one more site. Do we want to look into what Clinton did and see if there's any? Uh, Very possibly there's no connection at all.
Oh,
But
there probably is.
I
But
just thought,
honestly, my ADHD has me almost checking out at this point. Sorry.
oh, that's okay. That's okay. Well, honestly, then let's just call it a stream. I know you have one to go to, and I would like for everyone to at least have the opportunity to go to Netter's Network, her Thursday night things. She has a very interesting guest on there, and
And little Raquel Kitty will be on at 9.
Raquel Kitty. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. She's going to be on at 9 as well. So if you don't want to go to the one stream, go to the other. One
Or
of
you can
them
bounce between the two streams.
or
Either
which
one.
is probably what I'm going to do, honestly. But I don't know if we really learned anything. But there's this National Endowment for Democracy. Evidently, they give away a bunch of money. Some people say that they're manipulative and tear down democratic regimes, but some, they themselves say that they're the good guys and the heroes. Let me know if you'd like in the comments below, or I think Moira might also do her own better done deep dive into this on her own channel. Hopefully, I'm not setting you up, on the spot, but I know you talked about that. So, do you have any last comments, or what's going on with your channel going forward?
I just usually like once or so a week, depending on how I feel. I just I just get there and I just bitch about like news headlines, and I'm like, look at this shit right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, can you believe this? And you catch the ones that are contradicting. Like the last one, just an example. There was one article that said that Hamas keeps refusing a ceasefire, and then another article said that it was Israel that kept refusing a ceasefire. And I'm like, well, fuck me. Which one is it, y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
can we get our lies straight,
right?
please? And what day is it that you usually do that?
I don't know. It usually ends up being the middle of the week, I think, because and then I spend that next 7 days just like going, that headline looks good. Let's save that one.
Yeah.
And so by the time I get about 10 or 15 of them, I'm like, all right, we're good to go. It's like depressurizing. Once it gets to about 10 or 15, got to burn it off.
Well, I've been trying to catch up on back watching them because it seems like I'm always missing them. But
yeah, I try to do them around 7-ish.
They are definitely fun.
And that way, because even if people don't like what I have to say, they can at least go, I hadn't seen that headline. I would like to go check that out. So it at least brings it to their attention so they can go check it out.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're totally changing everything I believe, but you've had an impact on what I believe, and I know that you at least try to back it up with some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Better than that's what I'm missing.
Yeah, because a lot of times the news just tells us this is what's happening. It's like, is there proof? Because I've seen other things, and it's a whole.
Yeah.
So I always try to have like some reference material and at least explain why I think something is the way that it is. So I'll be like, well, there's this and there's this and there's this, and it makes me feel like maybe this is what's going on.
Is Raquel doing a gaming show, or what kind of show is she doing tonight?
Shit. Let me go look. I think we're watching something, maybe.
Oh, that's fantastic! You guys often watch the funnest things.
I gotta go look because I don't actually.
I tell you, I was really loving X-Men '97. That was the ones that I got to catch were very fun. It's like
Oh, watch party for Night of the Twisters.
Night of the Twisters.
It came out the same year as Twister did, and it
Oh.
actually came out first. But like summertime's the best time when you want a blockbuster to hit the theaters, and that's when it came out. So everybody forgot about Night of the Twisters dang near.
And
So that's what we're watching.
Matt Cheatwood is saying the news used to tell you facts. You had to decide how to feel about it. Now the news tells you how to feel. You have to decide if it is a fact.
Amen. Because even then they were trying to control the news, but it was a little better. They at least they try to fight to try to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And it was always like one or two that would like you could almost count on. It was like Dan Rather kind of, and then it was like this another dude that had like whitish hair.
And I'm still old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
That's it. That's the guy, Walter Cronkite.
I miss that guy.
Yeah, I remember
That's
his
the
name.
way it is. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, at least they just try to read it off and tell you what it said. Now they try to
Exactly.
tell you how to feel about it. Like he said, the way the inflection in their tone and this and that, or they try to.
All too often, I'll look something up, and there'll be there'll be the title, but then they never report on what that title's talking about. They just tell
Right.
you this.
Or like
this
the
person's
title will be
bad.
very misleading, and you got to read to the bottom, and then you realize that's basically clickbait we just saw.
Yeah, yeah.
I fucking hate that shit.
And
So
they
they'll be like,
they accuse independent media of doing it, but I think the MSNBCs and CNNs and Fox News does it.
yeah, they're owned like by 6 fucking people or some crap like that.
Yes. Russell
And-
Brand.
And the what was it? The Associated Press. Man, guess who bought that shit back in the 1800s?
Was
early
it
1900s.
Rothschilds?
Probably, I think it was Rothschild or someone similar.
Gotcha.
Some
Gotcha.
Zionist psychos.
One of my best friends was telling me, and I ended up disappointing him. He was telling me that NPR is a great source for the news, and I believe it was.
It probably is for certain things.
But I think those days have kind of changed.
I think so too, because now everybody's told to take a side.
Yeah.
And
and they picked theirs.
that's one of the reasons I kind of go off like I do, is because like almost everything else is telling you, oh, you got to side with this side. And I'm like, well, hold the fuck up then. Hold up. Because I've always been kind of an against the grain type.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I don't do it just for the sake of argument.
I know.
But I feel like if there's an argument to be had, then by God, why not?
Oh, and Matt Cheatwood is also reminding us of Brokaw. Tom
Maybe that's who
Brokaw.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe that's who it is I'm thinking of. Because it was like a bit of whitish hair guy. He didn't have like real floofy hair or nothing. But I couldn't remember. But there was alright. So there's like 2 or 3 that usually you at least count on and at least get something, I mean,
Yeah.
or at least they'd be straight faced about telling you the story and not, giving it the Amber Heard face react, like, and make you feel bad. And you're like, oh.
Matt Cheatwood is also pointing out one of the hallmarks of narcissism and sociopaths is projection.
Oh, yeah.
My ex-wife and mother-in-law were right about that, accusing their opponents of doing exactly what they
There is
themselves.
so much of that that's been coming out, like, since October. There's been so much of that coming out.
Yeah.
Like, some of the stuff I've been hearing about is so fucking atrocious that I just... Whew. Like, did you hear about the booby trap food?
No.
The people were out there hungry, and apparently they got these like little cans of food, like tuna cans, but they didn't have like any real labels on them, and they were rigged. So like when you blew up, it'd take your hand off.
Holy.
I'm like, that's fucking hateful to do to hungry people. That is hateful.
Is that in Gaza?
Yes, they were doing that. They weren't doing it all the time. It was only a few like incidents here and there that they had done that. That's still a fuck thing to do to people who are hungry. Like that's just spiteful. Like that's so unnecessary. That's not protecting yourself. That's just vengeful and nasty.
Exactly.
And then they had one drone that was coming out, and like you can't. And the drones are apparently these little smaller drones are hard to hear. Yeah, there you go. But like one was like they had a couple of drones that would go out. It would mimic the sound of a child crying, and so somebody would come out from cover to try to find the child, and they got shot.
That's
I mean, that is
terrible.
some nasty shit. they did their best to stop those stories from coming out because it looked really bad, and it is. Like, because I mean, defending yourself is one thing, but some things are just too nasty to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you claim they're not human, but obviously the sound of a baby in distress brings them out. They're not monsters. Like, that's fucked.
Baby trapped food.
Yeah, booby trapped food. Like, they weren't doing it all the time, but it was just like random cans. So if you found a random can, you didn't know if it was going to take your hand off or not. And that would make you not want to pick up any of them. I'm like, that is fucked.
Supplies rigged with hidden explosive charges.
Yeah, I mean, there would be small amounts. So just take the hand off. It probably wouldn't kill you, but you'd lose fingers at least. Like, it's pretty gross.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
10,000 buried under the rubble. The UNICEF chief saying the nightmare must end. Okay, 1,000-pound bombs.
Oh yeah.
All the Israeli troops.
But the food thing got to me though. Like the food.
Oh yeah, no, that's not.
That's
cool.
extra. That's extra sick. Like, god dang though. Like, I would never have thought of doing that to anyone, even if I hated somebody. And I've thought of some pretty creative shit to do to people I really fucking hate. But rigging food to like blow up any random person's hand is fucking awful. Like, god dang.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know that's not a 6-year-old trying to get some food? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you want someone to grow up to be your enemy, that'll do it.
It's hard. Yeah.
Shit.
Imagine that.
Right? They want to make sure they're going to get like military funding for the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
God almighty.
Exactly.
And then, like I said, and there's the one with the drone of the baby crying. Reports of that came out, and as soon as reports came out about that, it started getting hushed up real quick. So, like, they're like, "Oh, okay, people don't like that. We probably shouldn't do that anymore."
Yeah, Israeli drones. Baby
crying drone. It goes right to the Israeli drones. Yep.
Let's see.
The Snoops is full of shit. Like,
well,
Snoops. I don't deal with Snoops because Snoops has already been proven to like they just kind of do whatever they're told, and they're like worse than Wikipedia. And
so
like, he stole a bunch of money too because like he was with this big old girl. Him and this big old girl were married, and they got like a shit ton of money. And he like divorced her, took the money, and married like this '90s looking hooker.
Oh my gosh!
Like it was a whole thing. Like I forget how much it was, like a few $1,000s that got embezzled or something. It was fucking bad, dude.
I've noticed that Snopes tends to agree a lot with the narrative, but every now and then
they're just paid to support the narrative. That's really all they do. And so, like, I've never seen them actually take a stand about anything. They always just believe the narrative, even if later the narrative proves to have been a lie. Like, it doesn't. Hey, Sashi, meow meow.
Oh, is Sashi here? Howdy, Sashi. Here I'm like looking at stuff. Hello, the man from the future. Yes, get ready for work. We all have to slave away. Maybe who knows? Hopefully, YouTube won't get mad at that. There is one thing more. On the note of Snopes, so they're the definitive fact-checking thing. So,
unpacking the claims that UN found no proof. So now the Snopes knows better than the entire UN who's investigating. Of course, sure, let's believe that. I think we should look up the Snopes scandal. I think we should look that up. I mean, it's basically Snopes is basically a guy and like his side piece and a cat. They have like this white and tabby looking cat, which is cute. Okay. But like, oh yeah, there's plagiarism. I think someone embezzled money a few years ago. Like,
well, I had been going to look up, but I think I'll just talk about it.
Yeah, that guy.
So, the co-founder and CEO of the fact-checking site Snopes.com has acknowledged plagiarizing from dozens of articles.
Yeah. So instead of investigating, he basically just copy and paste stuff he's already found and puts that into his thing, and we're supposed to believe him. Like,
Yeah.
Like, we can just go look at other articles if we want to get bullshitted.
Yeah, exactly. He is suspended from editorial production.
Yeah.
8 current Snopes writers also condemned Michelson's actions, while former staffers indicated to BuzzFeed that he
Well, I guess
routinely
it started out as him and
practiced.
his side piece, but
Now, I think
and his then wife Barbara. So yeah, and then he got hooked up with somebody else and left her and took all the money and shit. It was crazy.
Snopes
It was a whole white trash thing going on.
earned 2 Webby Awards and served as one of Facebook's fact-checking partners. Imagine that. So, you know, a friend of mine introduced me to the diary of Joe Biden's daughter.
Oh, that's some fucked stuff. Holy shit.
And so I looked it up on Snopes, and I thought about doing it again here, but I don't know if it would.
Snopes probably just did whatever the White House told them to do.
Well, my initial search was basically found, no, that's absolutely been discredited.
Mm-hmm.
But then I kept kind of scrolling through, and one of the Snopes contributors, you had to dig, but one of the Snopes contributors said, actually, there is at least some evidence that it's true.
Nope.
And his reasoning was that the people who had the diary, they weren't charged with what's that term?
Slander or libel?
They weren't charged with slander.
Slander's when you say it, and libel's when you print it.
They were charged with theft.
Yeah, they may have stolen it, but they didn't fucking lie.
So,
that,
I mean, you don't file charges of theft for something that you wrote and then hid under a bed.
But if someone steals it, I mean, yeah, I get that. Yeah. So the theft, fair. So, they probably trespassed and stole it, but they didn't fucking lie about it.
Anybody that they did or they didn't, or it's legit or it's not, but a friend of mine told me about it, and normally I just pretty much trust this person, but I looked it up on several sites, and everything's so ambiguous. But I personally suspect that it's true, and
right.
I
Unfortunately,
hate that. I don't like that for anybody.
And didn't she kill herself?
No.
Oh, I thought the daughter actually killed herself.
Unless she did recently.
Unless she died. Did she die?
I don't think so.
Okay, for some reason I was under the impression because, I thought somebody had said something about it.
She's had a hard time.
I bet she has, poor thing.
And I've actually read, the first 25 pages of that diary.
Ugh, I couldn't make myself do it.
It was hard. I
heard the gist of it, and that's all I needed. There's some things that, context is important. That showering with your daughter, there is no context needed.
Well,
that's bad enough.
I mean, the thing is, that is just one part.
But that's enough for me, though. That's enough for me. That's like felony, pedo shit that I don't need to know the context.
Yeah.
For real.
And all my left-wing friends are like, oh, that's just, that's made up. And
that's the moment I would ask my left-leaning friend, well, what if it's not made up?
What if it's not?
Then what? Because I want to ask people those fucking questions when they're so dead set on something. Okay, well, what happens if you do find out? Is that a deal breaker for you? Is that where the line is at? Or are you going to move the goalpost again? Because I want to know. Yeah. How old was she? I think she was 9 or maybe early teens.
She
not sure how old she was.
I had the diary for.
I think it happened for a while.
But
it could have started when she was 9 and maybe ended when she was 15. I'm not entirely sure.
She's still alive.
Okay.
And
but she was wanting to know how old she was. Oh, Putin's cat. I'm sorry, Putin's cat wants to know how old she was at the time. It's still awful, no matter what, but like I think she was in like maybe she could have been around 12. I'm not entirely certain. I know it was she
Right.
was underage when it
I,
started, so
I
that's all I know.
I had the link saved on my old hard drive, but that's gone down, so I don't know where you would go.
Well, I
I don't
guess you could
remember
just
where to
Google
find it.
how old was Ashley Biden when her dad showered with her. See what
I
fucking
doubt
pops
if you'll
up.
find. I bet you won't find any
Some
there.
article might at least bring it up and mention it.
No,
Oh,
I'm.
now as far as I know, Hunter didn't do that to his daughter. As far as I know, God, I hope
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Not that I think he's a good guy
Um,
or anything, but God, I hope somebody has enough decency not to fucking cross that line. Jesus Christ.
Community notes slightly more than fact checkers.
Right?
I think she testified at Hunter's trial,
Oh shit.
and I thought you were talking about Hunter's daughter. Anyway, and I could be wrong. I could be mistaken. It's
Maybe that's
my
why Hunter's
dad.
all fucked up and on drugs. Because look what his dad
Well,
fucking did.
I again, my liberal friends, they're all like, Biden is brilliant. He's a
Wow.
grandfatherly figure. I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not
That's
saying
even
it to mock
worse.
them.
Jesus.
I'm not saying it to mock them.
No,
I
I'm
just
just, my
disagree.
flabber is gasted.
Yes.
Oh,
10 children in 1,000 square foot house and one bath. People nowadays are too much. Well, and that may be a
right.
fair point. If I
People
don't
are
mean
just
to be
trying to do the best
lame,
they
but
could.
I would reference the diary itself if I still had my old hard drive, but I don't have that. So you'll have to do your own legwork if you don't want to take my word for it, and that's okay. I understand that. But the context in the diary was she was talking about. She goes into detail. This is why it bothered me and why I had to quit reading it. But she goes into detail about her therapy sessions, uh, these men she's attracted to, how messed up she is. And at one point she says, I think I blocked the memory, but I'm pretty sure I was molested at one time. I know it was probably inappropriate to be taking showers with my dad and I can't remember the age either, but my memory, forgive me if I turn out to be wrong, but my memory seems to be that it was somewhere around 12 or 13.
Yeah, and she
And
said, and there was one mention where apparently she had avoided taking showers until late night after he went to bed, so he wouldn't go in there with her.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "Fuck, that's messed up."
But again, I do want to point out it's possible that's not a legit source, but I suspect it is. And that's the primary thing about the. First off, I was able to verify things like she talked about rain on a particular day, so I looked it up, and lo and behold, it rained on that day in that location. And I'm sorry, unless you are a spy spook person, if you're making something up, you're not going to put that detail in there.
Well, I mean,
That's
I
the
don't know.
first prop. The second thing that makes me believe it is like Snopes said, and that was not what Snopes said. That was what I'm saying myself from my own reading. But Snopes, if it's slander, charge them with slander.
Right?
If it's real, you charge them with theft, and they charge them with theft. Too many missing facts. That is possible. Putin's cat. The problem is when people disagree on what is the lesser. Almost a coin toss. As much as I dislike Trump, I dislike Biden even more. And respectfully, Putin's cat, and respectfully to my liberal friends, I don't like either. I'm probably not going to vote for Trump, but yeah, I dislike him less. I know that makes me pariah, but there it is. All right. Let's get this winded down. Do you have any last words before we call it a show?
Hold on, my cat is all in the dresser, and he's trying to wiggle stuff off my dresser. Like, you furry fuck! Stop that! Don't look at me like I disturbed you. Fuck you. That was a whole caboodle kit full of stuff that was going to make a huge crashing noise, but I didn't catch it. I just saw an inch over, and I'm like, oh god, fucking cat. He's like, I'm having a nap. Well, you're having a nap. In my laundry was enough, and then you go over there and try to knock my shit off.
That sounds like a cat thing to do.
Right.
All right. Well, do you have any last things to say before we say goodbye and talk to the chatters and call it a stream? Is that your cat? What are we looking at? All right, so I'm going to say goodbye to the chatters and thank them for being here. Moira's not on the stage anymore. I don't know if she took herself down. I know I didn't. But anyway, maybe she's had enough. But thank you very much, Matt Cheatwood. Thank you very much, JPRPH1. Oh, she's there. Add to the stage. Sorry.
I was trying to show you the damn cat, and then I pulled the cord too much, so it disconnected. Then I reconnected, and then you're like, I guess you've had enough. I'm like, I'm trying to show you the fucking cat.
Sorry. I wasn't sure what was going on. Kitty. Oh. It's a kitty cat.
Yeah, it's a little gray cat. Well, it's a very long gray cat next to the curtain.
That's awesome. And she was trying to dump his laundry.
He's almost 2 feet long, and it's just he's a lot of cat. And it's like he's just knocking shit over and making a space for himself. And I'm like, there's a reason I don't let you up there. Like, I didn't abandon you right before your stream ended. I was like, no, I hadn't had enough. Fucker, let me back on.
I don't know.
Don't just do that.
People just do all kinds of things. But anyway, yes, I'm thanking the chatters. Thank you, JPRPH1. Thank you, Putin's Cat. Thank you, Connie Cleary, JPRPH1. I think I thanked him twice, but he's worth thanking twice. Thank you, Connie Cleary.
They're all worth repeating.
Deleted scenes. Matt, you contributed quite a lot. Thank you, sir. That's very kind. Thank you, Darth Plato. And thank you, Sashi, the man from the future. Less free, and there is no discussion. All right. Thank you for liking the stream. Okay. Stable Freedom. That sounds great, too. And Putin's Cat says good kitty. So, Moira, do you have any last thoughts before I say goodbye and call it a stream?
I got nothing.
Okay. Well, like I say, in about 30 minutes, you can either go to Raquel's or to Netter's. I will probably go to both and try to ping pong between the two. But I know they both will have fun and interesting streams. I hope everyone enjoyed or hopefully learned something about the National Endowment for Democracy. Thank you very much.
Aww.
Go feed them goats. And just remember, you're not going mad. You're going sane in a world that's gone crazy.
My dad used to say, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
Yes.
And he was right.
I'll play a little bit of this royalty-free stuff. Hopefully it's not too loud. I think it's kind of groovy. I know everyone else uses it, but
I feel like I'm on hold.
Oh, do you?
I feel like I'm on hold.
I'm
like
sorry.
I'm waiting to talk to my state insurance or something, and I'm on hold.
Ma'am, I used to work at a call center that shall not be named because I don't want anyone upset. But you have no idea how many times I had to say, "I'm sorry, you've reached the wrong department. Let me transfer you there." Oh, thank God I'm not there anymore. Although, who knows? On hold in the 80s.
Right.
Yes, I sometimes miss the 80s, although some really shady crap was going on there too.
I want the 90s and the early 2000s. Well, the 90s anyway. The early 2000s when really shit started really getting kind of fucked, extra fucked.
I feel like 9/11 was when it all just went to hell.
Yeah.
But anyway.
The 90s and the year 2000, yeah.
You got it. All right. Well, everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you for being on my show, Moira. And stay sane.
Well, I can't guarantee that.
Me neither.
But hugs to everybody, though.
And man,
you can't be sane out in this world. You can't.
No.
Not see it for what it is.
It is a world gone mad. That's true. Oh, wait, one last thing from Matt. He wants the 80s, the 1880s.
You know, I that would be kind of fun. I'd have a whole little manual with me about stuff I need to know. And I'd be knocking on Nikola Tesla's door. I'd be like, yo, you're not gonna believe this shit. And he would not believe me, and I'll hold up my cell phone like, bruh, let me tell you some shit. And he's gonna be like, step on inside, please. Because what are you gonna say to a fucking like a Samsung phone, like a smartphone? Like, you can't deny that. I'd be like, this is my ticket in the door, man. And then I'd be like, all right, so when something happens to you, the feds are gonna try to take your paperwork. So you gotta hide it somewhere I can fucking find it, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like some Back to the Future stuff.
Right? Have it hidden in a nice sealed box, under the New Haven Green or Yale, where they don't fucking dig shit up, and be like, yeah, hide it under this tree, this area right here, and I'll come back for it. You know?
Right.
He said polio. Goddamn, that's fucked up. Well, you know, there's give and take.
There is give and take in anything.
Okay, if I go back in time, I'm taking some antibiotics with me.
Yes.
I don't plan on getting down with nobody, because they probably all smell like body odor and I don't know what. So I ain't trying to have none of that. I wash once a month. I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Nah. So, but I would be trying to teach them how to make antibiotics, because I theoretically know how. I know what the mold looks like under a microscope. It looks like little paintbrushes. So somebody who's trying to create that, I'd be like, all right, you need to look for this type of mold, and it's got to look like this under the microscope. Good luck. Pat him on the shoulder we're believing in you.
All right. Well, before we start another debate about what is good or bad about the 1880s, I'm going to call it a stream.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.